Gary Bonkowski interview question, basic spreadsheet skills for formulas count if and sum if. This was a interview question that I've gotten a couple times, so I try to find the questions that I'm seeing repeatedly out in the industry. So this one's pretty basic, but it does require you to show your work. As an analyst at an electronics part manufacturer, you have been tasked with confirming that transactions including more than one item generate at least twice as much revenue as transactions involving one item. Sample period is for one business day. You were to use drive data titled electronic components underscore 03232022. They provide you the spreadsheet. You do the work, get it back to them. They usually give you like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think was fair. I think it was pretty enough time to get in and do what needed to get done. Your supervisor is very particular, so she has asked that you show your work with formulas on the spreadsheet and be prepared to brief by the end of the day. So then you are asked to generate 6 questions. That's what I came up with. So put those on the slide, put those on the answer immediately. So you've got to find out exactly what it is you've got to demonstrate because they're not going to provide that to you. But it's pretty basic. So I came up with 6 questions. First one was how many transactions include only one item? I have to know that. So there's some baseline items first that you got to get out of the way. How many transactions include more than one item? How much revenue comes from transactions with only one item? How much revenue comes from transactions with more than one item? What is the average revenue for transactions with only one item? And then what is the average revenue for transactions with more than one item? So this is the spreadsheet they provide you. It's in Google Sheets. I actually prefer Sheets to Excel. I mean, I work in both, no problem, but I prefer Sheets. It's a little simpler, especially for the basic spreadsheet skills. For that one, it's just a lot easier, more seamless, especially if they're working with the drive routine, if the company works on the drive a lot. 3 columns. Column A is transaction ID. Column B is quantity. Column C is revenue. So I'll pull the questions off the slide and drop them directly in the spreadsheet. That's what I usually do, just for clarity and then for convenience as well. And then I know what it is I'm following off to keep referring back to the slide. And then what I'll do is I'll build a basic table, and then I'll build my formulas in the table. So there's no need to actually build out a pivot table, at least not for this one. I think some of the other interview questions do ask that you provide a pivot table. Not necessary for this, just a basic little table. You're only answering a few questions, so you can start with that. So the first question up there is how many transactions include only one item? So we'll go to F13 where you built your little table here, and you'll answer that question and build the formula into F13. So people ask, like, what is count if and what is sum if? So count if is just a real basic statistical function that counts the number of cells that meet a specific criterion. For example, the number of times a particular city appears in a customer database. So in its simplest form, it'll go through and it'll count, if you've got a database of all U.S. cities and maybe Detroit appeared 7 times, it'll go through that database of, hundreds of times cities are listed and it'll count that Detroit was listed 7, will return that 7 for you. So that's just a quick example. Okay, back to our first question. So our first question is how many transactions include only one item? We're going to be populating once again cell F13. That's where our formula will go. Equals count if, open parentheses, and then we're going to select B2. We'll just drag down to B49. Comma. Open quote, equals 1, that's the value or the criteria that we have established. Close parentheses, enter, there's our answer, 25. Next question, so that's our first answer for question 1, how many transactions including one item, that's 25. Second question, how many transactions include more than one item? So same except for the criterion is greater than 1, equals count if, open parentheses, we're selecting B2, drag down to B49. You can just enter those in manually. Comma, greater than 1. Then close, don't forget to close, and close the parentheses, enter. There's your answer, 23. For revenue total, we're going to use SUMIF. SUMIF is slightly different. The easiest way to explain SUMIF is it returns a conditional sum across a range that you establish based on criteria that you establish. So we will be joining columns B and C, quantity and revenue, and that will give us the revenue total. I hate to use the word join. Join is actually a function within SQL. So we'll be working in cell G13. That's where our formula will be. Equals SUMIF, open parentheses, and then we're selecting the first column, which is B2. We'll drag down once again to B49. Comma, same thing as before, equals 1, close, comma, and then we select our next column. So we start back up here at C2, drag down to C49. Close, parentheses, hit enter. We have our total. 1555 was the total revenue for transactions with only one item. Okay, so now we're on question 4. Same thing essentially, except for the criterion will be greater than 1. So items greater than 1 item per transaction. Equals SUMIF, open parentheses, and then we select once again B2, B49, comma, greater than 1. We close, select column 2, which is C2 to C49, close parentheses, hit enter. We have our answer, 4735. So significantly more revenue generated for transactions greater than 1 item. So we know immediately that that confirmed the marketing department's contention. And then the last 2 questions are, they weren't required, but they're nice to have. So you divide the revenue total by the count. So essentially you're dividing G13 by F13, or F13 by G13 rather. And that's really simple. So we'll do those formulas in H13 and H14. So that's equals G13 divided by F13. Hit enter, and our total was 6220. Then for our last question, what is the average revenue for a transaction with more than 1 item? Once again, real simple. Equals G14 divided by F14. Hit enter, 205.87. So let me close out on our slide, and our findings demonstrate that transactions of greater than 1 item generate 67% more revenue than do single item transactions. So you've confirmed, and so that's the percentage generator. You have confirmed the marketing department's contention that it should direct its efforts to focus on multiple item sales as a primary business strategy. So 33% of 4735 is 1562. So 100% minus 33% is 67%. So 67%, their contention was it was about half. So just a quick little interview summary to show you what they're looking for, and that they want to ensure that you are capable of contextualizing, creating a basic analysis, and then pairing that with some basic spreadsheet skills using a couple of the commonly used functions in both Excel and Sheets. Thanks for watching.